beautiful. I am all yours if you let me stay. You're the one who gives my life color. There is no another. With your hand in mine, let me go by your side. Let me go by your side. I wanna stay in your sunlight. I wanna wake up with you by my side. Without you there is no tomorrow. We could be in for the best ride. Want this to last for the rest of our lives. Without you there is no tomorrow.
Tell me why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now I'm feeling lost without you, and I just can't be without you, baby. Want you all night long, want you all night long. Tell me why.
Bitcoin is blasting into the stratosphere. And if you are an American or citizen of Singapore, you will be able to trade regulated, physically delivered Bitcoin futures contracts next month. Very bullish. However, $101 million worth of Bitcoin just moved on to Coinbase, and 900 Bitcoin just moved on to BitMEX. So are these whales about to dump the price of Bitcoin live right after Bitfinex maintenance clears up? We're going to find out today in this exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Welcome to Breaking Bitcoin Market Update, recorded live Wednesday, June 26th, 2019, your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for professional traders. I am Justin Wise, your host, lead analyst, and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and whether you're tuning in from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or live on Roku at the Investor News channel. If you want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, like, share, engage in the live chat. So guys, we've got a fantastic show for you today. Looking at the price of Bitcoin, it's absolutely fantastic. How often? I mean, let's just go back in time. Let's just go back to December. Let's go back to 2018. You guys know about the feels. You guys know about the FUD. You guys know about the fear. And all the haters of Bitcoin, we've got just a few choice words for you that I will not say on stream because we do like to keep this somewhat of a family-friendly show. However, it is an exciting time to be alive. It is an exciting time to be in this market, and I would not want to be anywhere else. So before we get into it, this episode of Breaking Bitcoin is brought to you by us. Are you an aspiring trader or an experienced trader looking to improve? Our premium trading group can help you maximize your potential. Our education focuses on risk management, technical strategy, capital preservation and growth, statistical analysis, automation, and lifestyle coaching. We provide reliable signals and setups for beginners and experienced traders, in addition to supplying our team members with proprietary indicators, spreadsheets, audio and video coursework, and training, as well as other powerful tools, in addition to providing exceptional technical and customer support. Our community is a powerful resource for support, encouragement, and growth, whatever your trading style happens to be. Excuse me. To get started today and push your skills to the next level, visit premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. That's premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. All right, guys, so real quick, we're going to go over the ByBit trading competition. So, I guess I'll go over it when we get into the next scene. I actually have the image pulled up over here, but I want to switch over to the other scene before I go over that. So, as far as risk management, here's what I will say. The grand majority of all the individuals who wish to be shared on the leaderboard are doing absolutely fantastic. There is actually several individuals who are up over 50% of their equity from the beginning of the competition, at least with the amounts that they decided to share for the competition. So absolutely fantastic. There are about 4 or 5 members in drawdown. And here's what I want to point out. The members that are in drawdown, every single one of them except for 2, are in very, very small amounts of drawdown. And that's what's good to see. That tells me that they are listening to the rules, that they are applying the rules, and they are using the tools appropriately. So even though they are sustaining loss, insofar as their ByBit account goes. And of course, we don't see into what the rest of their accounts are doing. They are position sizing appropriately, which over time statistically is one of the most fundamental keys to long-term success, is applying your risk management strategy appropriately across all market conditions, across all trades. So shout out to you guys, even if you're not up in the 3 days the competition has been going on, at least you are position sizing correctly and you are set up for long-term success. There are 2 guys on there who are down more significantly. So I'm not doing any call outs, but you guys are not position sizing appropriately, and you know who you are, and you can see the exact result of that. And when you actually look at the dollars and cents, all the hubris is stripped away, and you can just see the errors of your trading. So definitely something to work on. All right, so let's see here. Before we get into the show, I want to thank our current Discord Nitro boosters. You guys are fantastic. If you guys want to support our Discord community and you have Discord Nitro, you can come boost our server. And of course, I want to mention yesterday's crypto giveaway winner, which is FDC12. Thank you so much. I got a hold of you in the Discord, gave you some crypto to the best of my knowledge. Sometimes I forget things, but I do remember you hitting me up, and I do remember sending you the screenshot. So thank you guys so much for participating in that. So we're going to start off today's show, exciting show, as we always do. Let me get over here and get to the right scene. And of course, I would be remiss to not start off today's show just with a comment that we are currently at 13,421 over here on the Bitstamp chart. Beautiful time to be alive. So excited to be in this space. I'm very, very, very I'm very, very, very happy to be here with you guys today. Now, I will come over here and show you guys the leaderboard. So this is the current winner. So 532.30. Again, you guys can edit your names if you guys want to display your names as well on the next update when we do the leaderboard. However, these are the current results that we're logging in, and I will go ahead and zoom in on this. Yeah, I'll zoom in on this just a little bit. All right, so one individual started off with 0.0527339. He's currently sitting at 0.161. This comes directly from ByBit. So they directly look into the account, so there's no way to manipulate this data, at least on the trader's end, right? On the trader's end. You guys could say that I doctored this image. I don't really care what you say, but I got this from ByBit earlier today. So these are the rankings on the leaderboard currently, and the two, again, no call-outs, but some individuals are not position sizing appropriately. However, the majority of the traders are. So shout out to you guys. You guys are doing absolutely fantastic, and I look... this has been really fun, and again, as I said, don't take on any additional risk to participate in this, especially if you are an individual that is in drawdown. Just make sure that you're position sizing appropriately and continuing to move forward from that. Learn lessons. The only time you fail is when you refuse to learn from mistakes that you make. There is no mistake that cannot be applied beneficially to your trading life and to your overall lifestyle. Okay. Moving on into the price of, actually, sorry, what we got to do is we've got to pick a crypto giveaway winner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull open yesterday's video and I'm going to look at the comments on it, and we are going to randomly pick a crypto giveaway winner. The rules of the competition are very simple. If you comment on today's video, you have an opportunity to win some crypto in our Discord. You simply get a hold of me and I tip you some crypto. It's pretty simple. All right, pulling open yesterday's video. Bitcoin breaks the bank as we ascend past 11K. Options contracts and cryptocurrency IRAs for sale was a really good video yesterday, guys. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you go watch that. We have 14 unique users to pick from, and we are going to ding, 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 ding. Doublethink. He says, hey, Justin, just wondering, because there is a difference between the data on different platforms, and since ByBit isn't yet on TradingView, is it better to use the EMAs on the ByBit chart on their platform? Am I correct in thinking that that would make it more accurate? Yes, I would highly agree with that. Yes, correct. However, you could also make the argument that pulling the EMA from a longer data set would actually give you better results, because we have to remember that our moving averages, or really any technical indicator, is going to be more accurate the more data that you put into it. It just has more data to smooth itself out of, to filter more data and to actually process what it is looking at more appropriately. So although that would be more accurate for the ByBit chart, one might say that because the price of Bitcoin across all exchanges is extremely well contained, there is very little divergence between price across exchanges. Occasionally you do get some aberrations, but for the most part, our arbitrage community is so efficient, our market is so strong, so well self-regulated, that really in practice there is very little divergence across exchanges, because if there is opportunity to profit off of arbitrage. And also, when we talk about inverse futures contracts, we have to talk about funding rates. So I've gotten some questions about the funding rates, or what funding is, what is the purpose of funding, and why is funding so high. So we do have to realize that exchanges do not profit from funding. Funding is P2P. So funding fees go directly from individuals on one side of the contract, so individuals who are long, and those fees go to individuals who are short. And the reason why funding rates vary is because it is difficult to arbitrage to futures contracts, especially inverse futures contracts. You have to design a way, the exchange has to design a way to maintain mark price relative to index price. They have to contain that divergence. They have to make sure that it is not easy for any individual trader or any group of traders to push the price, the mark price, which is the actual price, the mark price, which liquidation and P&L is calculated off of on a futures contract, away from the underlying index price. So you will see funding rates move and increase or decrease based upon, in my opinion, the liquidity of that market. The lower liquidity a market is, the higher the funding rate is going to be, because the lower liquidity, the less liquidity that a market has, the easier the price is to manipulate with large orders. So you guys know this from trading altcoins on Binance, our low sat coins. There are, anytime you have a mark, or you can just go look at Hit BTC or any of these jank exchanges that have very low liquid coins, it is very easy to push the price up and down. It is very easy to pump and dump them, which is what some groups do. It is very easy for whales to manipulate the price, the less liquid an asset is. when we get into something like Bitcoin, when we get into our more liquid markets and something like the S&P, or when we get into a Forex market, the more liquidity in the coin, the more difficult it is for any one individual to manipulate the price, or any group of individuals. Because again, we have to go back to game theory. There is not a lot of incentive generally for individuals with competing interests in the market to collaborate. Now, sometimes you will get collaboration because that is just how conspiracy works. However, in the most part, the market is a dynamic activity of individuals who have differing opinions, different interests competing against one another. And that's why, especially in cryptocurrency, especially with Bitcoin in particular, I might even say just Bitcoin stands as a good example of this, because it is self-regulated, non-regulated, and is a very efficient market. It is these competing interests that make something that is very stable. And that's exactly what the blockchain is built off of in the first place: competition between miners. Financial incentive to play by the rules maintains the rules and creates a level playing ground. So, Doublethink, thank you so much for participating. If you want to get a hold of me in the Discord, I will tip you some crypto, man. Thank you so much. All right. Finishing on with that and getting right into the price of Bitcoin, currently trading at 13,221. So we are getting a little bit of wibble wobble as we crash above the current order block. So let me, guys, tune you into basically my analysis from last night, my thoughts and opinions on the current price of Bitcoin, and we'll move forward from there. And I'd really love to see your MBait. Did somebody say low sat coins? I'd really love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions, but I just want to preface everything that I'm about to say with one thing in particular. Moments like these in the market do not come around every single day. This is a gorgeous opportunity. Gorgeous, you know, words are escaping me on how really fun and exciting this is. Now, hey, AK11MK, thanks so much for the cheer, my good friend. And by the way, that gives me a fantastic opportunity to point out some new subs and followers who got a hold of us on the offline hours. My Secure Gift and Grid21, thank you so much for joining the community over there on Twitch with your follows. Sunking25, Stuart Russell J, and Carl Spira, thank you so much for the subs over on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys. Ken D, man, hey, thank you so much for sending the letter. It was my pleasure. All right, so let's go through the TLDR first. All right, so number one, are we sitting in Bitcoin? Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Why? Because Bitcoin is above the baseline. It is dramatically above the daily baseline, which is our metric for trading. If price is above the baseline, statistically, we return more on our investments by simply sitting in Bitcoin. Now, are there times when we take discretionary trades against the trend? Yes, very rarely, because we are trend-following traders by nature. That forms the baseline of everything that we do. PTP is the methodology that we instill. If you would like to learn PTP, again, we talked about that at the beginning of the show, and of course, the link is always at the top of the screen. So, sitting in Bitcoin, we have been sitting back in Bitcoin since the close of the candle on June 12th. Funny enough, that was my daughter's birthday. Now, moving on. So, thank you so much, Delilah. I appreciate you the day getting me back in. So, words can't really describe the USD appreciation of where we've been in. So, since entering back into Bitcoin, from a spot perspective, we have been able to currently capture a 60% increase on our total equity simply by knowing when to be in and out of Bitcoin. It's a very simple procedure. And I've said this before. Is the baseline the primary indicator that tells you when to get into a position? It is not. It is actually not. The primary indicator is our primary indicator. That is Minx. That is our initiator. Now, however, individuals that don't have access to Minx, or again, we teach you exactly how to design all of this. But the entire point is applying a baseline to your chart is going to do wonders for most individuals by simply telling them when to be in and out of the market as far as Bitcoin goes, because Bitcoin is directly related to every other trade that we're going to put on. It affects our alt to USD liquidity. It affects our alt to BTC liquidity. It affects sentiment. Everything relies off of, in this market, is based off of Bitcoin's price, and in my estimation, in my technical analysis, its relationship to the baseline, which is the delineation of the dominant trend. So, as we know, I was not actually in a leveraged full risk position for this rise up, simply sitting in spot. So over the course of today's candle, price has moved up about 12%. So again, just today, I've seen another 12% increase in my total equity growth and capital. So always very happy. Again, you don't want to be super emotional. Money comes and money goes, and the entire goal is to have more money at the end of the year, at the end of your trading cycle, than you did at the beginning. You're going to incur losses, you're going to incur wins, but the entire point is to have an asymmetric distribution of those wins to losses. Again, I got some messages this morning from people that are not in the group, and they said, "Hey man, you closed out your position." I guess that, again, never snarky. The people that get a hold of me are generally 99% awesome people. And they said, I bet you wish you would have stayed in the leverage position. And sure, would it have been nice to capture more money on my long position on ByBit? Yeah, that would have been absolutely fantastic. However, I didn't sell out of Bitcoin, so I took advantage of it one way or the other. And in retrospect, I am glad that I did exactly what I'm supposed to do with my strategy, and I'll tell you why. Because a candle like this or a day like this is not the market standard. The market standard is generally more, and especially we will see this as Bitcoin becomes more regulated. We're going to get into the news of Bitcoin physically delivered contracts that are regulated by the CFTC being launched next month. Yes, the word is out next month, guys. LedgerX, shout out to you. And as we see more liquidity come into the market, things like this are going to become rarer and rarer. If you guys, there's lots of mathematics to support this. If you guys go to the linear, not linear regression, but the, just linear growth, the linear growth model, how the law of diminishing returns. There's lots of mathematical constants that would tell you that the more liquidity, and then general trading concepts as well, that would tell you that the more liquidity that you get in a market, the more the reduced volatility you're going to see. That's exactly what happened with the Forex markets. That's exactly what happened with traditional markets. That's exactly what happened with commodities. That's exactly what happened with precious metals, especially with cash settled futures contracts. And that is what will inevitably happen to Bitcoin as long as it remains a tradable asset. Now, keep in mind, cognitive dissonance, there is a difference between what we're talking about with Bitcoin insofar as an asset to trade, insofar as its fundamentals for the use of a global currency. And we don't even, a lot of individuals don't even try to analyze the impact on liquidity and volatility as far as a tradable asset that its use as a world reserve currency would impact upon price. Because believe me, that will have a very significant impact upon price. Now, let's move over here. So let's go through my analysis last night and my current thoughts on the market. So let's just look at price. We'll take our indicators off for the moment, and then we'll return to look at our indicators as we always do. All right, so price has reached a high currently on this candle of 13,564.05. A little bit different on the other exchanges, but not by much. Generally, we're talking about a difference of $50 to $20. And we are currently sitting at 13,296.99. So let's just call that 13,297. Now let's zoom back over here and let's take our EMAs off. Let's just take a lot of stuff off so that we can look at this a little bit more objectively. Now, this is often not the type of analysis that we do on this channel. You'd actually have to go back further in time, like a year or so ago, where we really talked about this a lot. But I do want to talk about the significance of this price level and talk about what it might portend and what it might mean, especially for individuals looking to profit off of this and what individuals who have large positions in Bitcoin might want to do. Now, there's a couple things that we have to talk about. So the first thing that we need to talk about is going to be the M19 contract on BitMEX, okay? So you have to look at when the M19 contract launched. The M19 contract launched toward the end of the massive dump back in December, back in November. So we have to realize that when price was at its relative lows, that is when the M19 contract that is expiring this Friday launched. Okay, so we know undoubtedly that some positions have been closed out, perhaps many positions have been closed out, where large individuals or individuals with large accounts accumulated large positions of Bitcoin to take to the upside, right? So any individual that put on their futures contracts back on the M19 contract back in December, they are now up almost 200% on their positions. The contract is going to expire on Friday, which means the contracts will be settled no matter what. Now, there is a lot of volume in the M19 contract, more so over the last few days. But again, M19 and the U19 contracts, the futures non-funding rate contracts, the regular futures contracts on BitMEX exist for one primary purpose and one primary purpose only, and that is to hedge. That is to hedge positions or put on very long-term positions, okay? XBT USD perpetual swap contract is designed, by its very nature to be it's not designed to hold long-term positions open on, and that is due to funding rates. Funding rates discourage individuals from holding open long-term positions, so month-long positions or multi-week long positions on the XBT USD perpetual swap contract. Now, sometimes it can work out to their favor, but individuals that held shorts open from the very top, they had their profit significantly diminished by the use of fees, and that just goes with the territory. That is the cost of having a perpetual swap contract. So We have the M19 contract expiring on Friday, meaning contracts will be settled, meaning this is a price moment where individuals who have held long-term positions in Bitcoin, regardless of how you feel, and again, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, regardless of how you feel, this is an area where they will be looking to take profit. Now, if we look at this area of price, I want to point out some key notes here. So back in December of 2017, this candle was on the 6th of December 2017. This is where we broke this yellow line. We'll come back to that. That will remain a level of importance here in just a little bit. We broke that level, as we can see here, on Bitcoin's ascension from its low in September of 2017 into its penultimate run-up to reach its high on December 17th, 2017. All right, as we can see, when we broke that level, we had one more candle of expansion and then two massive price dives back down to that level. Again, that level will become important. During the run-up, after the run-up to our ultimate high, our all-time high on the 17th, you can see that over the course of a week, we dumped down, had this massive flash dump down to 12,572. Price actually wicked significantly lower, and then we found liquidity at this price right here. So this was a massive market sell order, or the activities of a lot of market sellers. At this point in time, it was bought back up, pushed up to this price, and then dumped back down again. We can see that buyers stepping in and acting as support around that 12,572 level. And then we have a double bottom off that same level. And then this moment in time, this price level right here is what I've talked about many times, that failure to achieve or that swing failure pattern where you create a high, you have a significant sell-off, and then you fail to make a higher high on the next movement down, which is preceded by a shift in market structure, lower lows and lower highs, whereas the previous trend was dominated by higher highs and higher lows. And we can see that occur right here at the beginning of January in 2018. Of course, a lot of individuals will remember that, and I think the main reason why we had this upsurge was individuals pushing price up to be able to exit their positions and not incur such a dramatic loss, because I feel that a lot of individuals felt exactly what was in store after the froth of the market, after the overheatedness of the market. You guys will also recall, this is when all altcoins also exit pumped. There's no other word for it. They exit pumped. Altcoins pretty much across the board throughout January and a little bit into February pumped up massively and then just sold off, and most ended up being more than 90, if not more percent down from their all-time highs. And that was the end of the bull market. That was the absolute end of the bull market. One last gasp, one final drink before the road, right? All right, so after we broke that price level, after we broke that level of support that we double bottomed off of back here in December, here's the candle where it actually occurs here on the 16th of January. As you can see, we back test and test that same area as resistance and form a swing high there at 13,052. All right, then we break back down below the low of that level, and then we test that as resistance, and then this level here, 11,794, acts as a triple top level of resistance. Here we have another failure to achieve here. You can see here we have higher highs and higher lows, then we have a massive sell-off, and then we have a failure to achieve. We have a swing failure pattern where we are unable to make a higher high, and that commences a massive sell-off, and then we have the entire market of 2018 for the most part. Where it was just mostly consolidation and a ranging market for the majority of 2018. Okay. So I said those levels will become important, and that was the importance of those levels, okay? So we have this significant level in price that any whale, any individual looking to sell their position with the advent of the M19 futures contracts coming, with the fact that we are experiencing a massive upswing in Bitcoin's price, that we have, if you simply follow standard deviation theory or reversion to the mean theory, if we go take a look at where price is in relation to the in relationship to the baseline, again, there are going to be many successful strategies that are based off of a baseline, but in a reversal type pattern, where they say that when price gets to be a certain standard deviation away from the baseline, then typically price reverts back to the baseline. This is the standard model for linear regression. This is the standard model for reversion to the mean type trading strategies, which I will say are one of the most major camps of automated algorithmic trading in the market, as well as manual trading as well. And then the other would be trend following trading. So trend momentum trading, which is what we do for the most part. So what are we typically going to see when we have a swing point in the market where we know that we have liquidity above the market, where we have a logical place for stops to be placed, okay? Well, the logical place for stops to have been placed would have occurred yesterday when we were around that price level of 11,794. But the more logical area for me, I would say, to initiate a reversal position would have been upon the swing break of that 13,052. Now, again, This differs a little bit from the actual position that I have put on in the market. And of course, nothing is ever perfect. So in hindsight, could I have optimized my position a little bit? Yes, of course, but that option still remains available to me as I watch and see how price develops. So we have this swing point at 13,052, and what has price done today? We have basically rocketed up through this, one would say, an order block. We have basically rocketed up past, from the close of yesterday's candle, rocketed up another 13.53%. Currently, it was 12.5% earlier when we were looking at the chart, and we have tapped the liquidity above that high. So now we just need to wait and see how price closes, okay? The way that price closes, I think, will be very deterministic on which way the market moves. This is, in my opinion, the most logical area. I don't really count any of this stuff. Again, we talked about this way back in 2000. Well, really at the beginning of 2019 and toward the end of 2018 as well. We talked about what price would do when we came up to these levels and what would be the areas to be looking for taking profit. So I'll say this very closely and very clearly. I do believe, because that is what I have done, I do believe this is a good area to begin taking, if you have not, profits on your Bitcoin trade. There is a lot of uncertainty coming up into the market, and just similarly to trading into fundamental events in Forex, there are times when it is best to lock in your profits because we value our wealth in USD and evaluate risk and evaluate your second move later on. There is no debating that any position that has been taken in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin at this point in time has been a highly successful trade, and you have to weigh the risk of losing your money, of giving a lot of profit back to the market, and the potential reward of price continuing to accelerate against one another. Now, am I saying to exit your entire position? No, I would never recommend doing that in a trending market. What I would recommend doing is locking in profit, moving your stop loss to break even as we always do, and making sure that your trade is a no loss situation. Because there's no reason, because again, this is exactly what happened in 2018. Everybody got extremely bullish on the entire run up, nobody took any profit, and people ended up paupers, whereas previously they were kings. Okay? Don't let that happen to you again. Make sure to lock in profit on the way up, at least half, maybe less, but lock in profit, make your trade a no-loss situation, and be smart about what you're doing because you do not know which way the market will go. I do not care. I cannot come here. I cannot come on this show, even with all my years of experience, even with my knowledge, even with my ability to be profitable in this market year after year and outperform the market every year. I'm very concise and very clear and very honest and accountable in the fact that I do not know which way price is going to go. Nobody does. So there's going to be a lot of videos coming out today about this movement in Bitcoin's price. Make sure to evaluate everything through the lens of, like, really, dude, just take a grain of salt with you. Because over here you have vehement proponents of Bitcoin. Over here you have somewhat good traders. And then you have a large camp of completely unqualified just bullshitters. So just be very cautious with who you listen to. Make sure that what you are listening to sounds logical, and make sure that you have your own best interest in mind, because nobody else does. Nobody else has your personal interest in mind. Nobody is there trading your account for you. Nobody knows what your personal obligations are. Nobody knows what your personal life is like, and nobody knows what your future outterms and outlooks are like, okay? And now, there are going to be different decisions that are right for different individuals at this point in the market phase. So, just be safe, is all I'm trying to say. Now, as for an idea of where Bitcoin's price is going, okay, standard settings on Minx, we are going to be getting a continuation long from Minx if we look at Quadriga ATR. I do want to look, just for the purpose of this, because we do generally discount this when taking these positions on. Let's look at what Quadriga would tell us are logical areas for price to move to should we continue to appreciate to the upside. Quadriga is being lazy. Another thing that I want to point out from a volume standpoint is this. When do you see volume come into the market? You generally see volume come into the market at the beginning and at the end of a trend. So as you can see down here, we have a significant amount of volume come into the market at the beginning of April when the massively bullish Bitcoin trend begins. We have a fairly large distribution spike here during the middle because this is where a lot of profit taking took place. We had consolidation, a breakout, and then a second leg of the rally. Now, what are we seeing on this candle? We are seeing that massive amount of volume come back in again. Again, those of you who are familiar with what a reversal looks like, it is going to generally be denoted by a volume spike toward the end of the trend. This could, but again, you never know until after the fact. You never know in hindsight whether this is going to be a reversal pattern or just a brief pause in the road. However, I would say that it is very rare that you see a massive volume spike and a hugely bullish candle like this, and then price continue to go up without at least somewhat of a pullback, even if we go back in the short term to what occurred over here. Now, am I selling my Bitcoin stack? No, I am not. I already talked about that at the very beginning of the show. So what are likely pullback zones, I guess, before we get into likely profit targets? Likely pullback zones, of course, are going to be the daily baseline sitting at 10,464. And of course, many individuals, including myself, have had our eye on our secondary baseline, which serves a specific purpose as far as trend confirmation, as well as support down at 8,359. That would be a significant correction from current price down to the secondary baseline would be on the order of nearly 40%, which again is par for the course for Bitcoin during an extremely bullish rally. Generally, what precedes that, or excuse me, what follows that is continuation of the rally after a month or two of consolidation, to be quite honest with you. Wally, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, my good friend. And he says, this is my favorite time to double up on BTC altcoin pairs. Assuming alt season shortly follows and they rise faster than Bitcoin, learn, earn, and don't get burned, guys. So, again, make sure that you trade safely, but Wally knows what he's talking about, and he is fairly proficient when it comes to those alt trades. So hopefully you're profiting very well, Wally, and thank you for your continued support, my good man. All right. So 1231. I almost don't even want to look at traditional markets today. I just kind of want to talk about Bitcoin because there is a lot to talk about. But we will carry on from this shortly. So let's go back and look at different positions that individuals took, especially ones that they shared with me in the group today from the DMs. Now, let's take a gander and see. As we talked about yesterday, both RVGI and Minx threw up the threw up the early exit. So because of this, took profits on my leveraged long position. Didn't sell out of my Bitcoin to USD because I handled that differently. And what are we getting now? A continuation long signal on Minx, which I am going to discretionarily ignore. I am going to discretionarily ignore that continuation long until I have more data. I want to see how price closes. I want to see whether or not price closes above or below that dotted white line sitting at 13,052, and that will impact my decision moving forward significantly. Okay. Going to the 12-hour chart, again, we did get a continuation long on this candle down here. We had Wada Atar confirming. We had everything lining up very good to go. And of course, that trade, let's look at Quadrigo ATR. That trade has hit all 3 of 3 take profits. I know specifically some individuals took that trade, so I'm kind of eagerly looking for the additions to the leaderboard. Coming down to the 4-hour chart, we got a continuation long down here at 2000 hours UTC time, giving you a beautiful run up, hitting take profit 3 of 3 here. And again, missing out a little bit on the toward end profit, but that's absolutely fine. Going down to the hourly time frame, having an hourly pullback down to the qualifying line, which is going to be 1 ATR above our baseline. After a continuation long signal here, of course, we did get one here. Let's see, continuation long signal here, which again hit 2 of 3 take profits on the hourly chart. So you had about a 6-hour good trade there if you were looking for all other things. And even on the 1 hour, or excuse me, even here on the 1-hour chart, I do want to point out the significance of this volume spike. You can actually see, so here's the entire run up on the hourly, and then look at the size of this volume spike relative to everything spanning back all the way to the 9th of June, 2019. So we are nearly at the end of the month, and this is the most significant volume spike we have seen all month long. What typically precedes massive volume spikes when a trend has been established for a long time? Typically a reversal or a pullback. So just be cautious, guys, with putting on trades. And for that reason, I am going to be ignoring this continuation long to the upside. Now, not selling my, again, I feel like I just have to continue to say this because otherwise I'm just going to get a bunch of questions. I'm not selling my spot position. I'm not. Okay, I've made it very clear what my situation is like. There are other things that you can do. You can put on a hedge. You can put on whatever your stack is. You could put on a hedge to the downside. You could take advantage of funding. For example, If you look at, say you're going to put on your position on ByBit, where the funding rates might be a little bit higher than something like Kraken. Well, if you have a position, if you have your spot position open on Kraken, for example, depending on what your margin is, what your margin basis is, and you open up that short position on ByBit, then you can take advantage of the funding rate. And if the market is in contango, even lock in the notional basis. All right. So there's lots of advanced ways that you can profit regardless of which way the market wants to go. All you need to do is research these topics. In the premium webinar series, I have a video on how to profit from contango and backwardation. And then I also have a video coming out soon on how to take advantage of funding rates as well, because that is a discretionary aspect. We'll probably put that out after we finish with the BTP coursework. Okay. So having said that, I think the big concerns for the day right now are going to be taking profit, making your trade a no-loss situation, and potentially, and just being patient and waiting to see how price interacts with these three, 12,572 horizontal levels that I have denoted have importance. So trade safely and just make sure that whatever you do that you're locking in profit and that you're not, again, it feels like we say it a lot, but not being the wick. Okay. Let's see over here. Brief note, Litecoin M19 hit my third take profit target on my short trade last night, so very, very happy about that. Ethereum USD, you could basically say everything I just said about Bitcoin and apply it to Ethereum USD. The only difference is the Ethereum chart does show signs of strength. In fact, I had this conversation with a member last night. From a technical perspective, here is that same situation here. Here is that same situation here, that consolidation period. And let's go ahead and draw that horizontal ray from that same level of interest here at 322.16. The Seifu sticks, the sticks are Seifu, by the way, if any of you guys caught that on Twitter. I thought that was funny, but maybe I just have a warped sense of humor. Getting on over here, we can see that we have this level of consolidation again that did act as a double top resistance before the break and then the failure to achieve. But really, honestly, this is the failure to achieve and this is not. This is just an inability to make it even back to resistance. And then if we come over here and look at what price is doing now, all right, so we blasted above that consolidation period that I denoted. We pulled back as support, and this is exactly what I said, close proximity to the baseline, and a spring upwards. So when asked if I would even consider When asked if well, thank you so much, Wally. I highly appreciate that, my good friend. When asked if I would consider a short position on Ethereum USD, my answer last night to that member was I didn't put one on for a reason, and the reason for that was because I am a technical trader, and you can just see. Let's hide this line for a second. Let's actually just remove it. Sorry. So as we can see that from a technical perspective, Ethereum USD put in signs of strength that Bitcoin did not, because Ethereum broke resistance, back tested that resistance as support, and continued pushing up to the upside, and as confirmed by the close of this candle. And that is generally a bullish sentiment if you are a price action trader, if you are trading support and resistance. Now again, let's put that line back on the chart and denote that same swing failure level that we would get. Similar to the one that Bitcoin is experiencing. So you can see here that Ethereum has put in more bullish activity relative to the numbers over there on the Bitcoin chart, right? Because we are 10, almost 11% higher than that swing failure level. Again, does that not mean that's exactly what you can see? Of course, you can absolutely see a rational, exuberant buying when we are approaching a level like that. Because honestly, guys, if we end up breaking these levels, consolidating into something like most people would call it a bull flag. Again, there's no statistical edge in trading patterns. However, I don't really see, just from a technical perspective, resistance till we get up to the $400 level. I really don't see that. Similarly, over on the Bitcoin chart, I don't really see a lot of resistance until it's somewhere around the $15,000 level. So we'll see, and that is most likely the next target after we have consolidation and most likely a pullback. So looking at our stop and target system, where would we be headed from here? Should we just continue on a straight up thrust? 14,126, 14,800, 15,600 are the next ATR derived levels to hit as far as profit targets go. All right, 1240. $12.40, and we've covered Bitcoin and Ethereum. So having said that, let's go look at a few fundamentals, and then we'll go through our traditional markets real quick. So, looking over at longs. Longs are having a little bit of a pullback today. Nothing super dramatic. Again, longs gave us the continuation long signal yesterday, here as well as here, the initial long signal again. What do we use longs for on this channel? We use longs as a confirmation indicator for our short trades. Not something that has to be true, but it does help confirm our position, especially with discretionary position sizing when we are looking to take a trade to the upside. If the chart is technically bullish on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin longs are bullish as well and giving a buy signal, this is why we display this data with OHLC, so there's more relevant for our indicators. Then it is a technical indication that longs are stepping in and putting their money where their mouth is to actually take the leverage position in Bitcoin and apply risk. And that is what you want to see. You want to see you want to see longs actually have their money on the table to be taking long positions to the upside. Now, what I would like to see, honestly, here's the thing. Now, this may or may not be true, so this is a little bit of cognitive dissonance. It would be ideal to be seeing shorts get absolutely squeezed, okay? And so for that reason, BitMEX is going to be less of a good indication because of the amount of leverage that you can apply, and so the amount of irrationality that you can see. Now, obviously, if we do go over to tensor charts, we can see the ridiculous amount of short liquidations that have occurred over this period in time. Let's actually give this a little bit of a refresh and refresh our BitMEX stats. So we can see, I mean, I'm going to say almost, guys, probably on the order of about 100 million liquidations, darn near close to it. We can actually see on this peak, there's 10.6. So maybe 100 million is a little high, but at least 50, to be quite honest with you, man. On this last run up, pretty much over the night. Now, what's crazy about this is that this is not taking into account what's going on on Bitfinex. And so for that reason, looking over here at the Bitfinex short position, we can see that this price movement is not really kicking shorts out. In fact, we continue to see shorts put on positions and hedge up. Now, this is what they're doing, undoubtedly. They are hedging. There are individuals that are taking raw positions against the market, but there are more attractive platforms to put those positions on, i.e. BitMEX. Okay. So, shorts not being scared out of their position. So what is the cognitive dissonance that I talked about earlier? Well, a lot of individuals in this space are going to say that what you have to see is you have to see shorts absolutely capitulate before price moves down. That's nonsense. You don't. That it is a pattern that can happen, but you will often see the market reverse with shorts being strong in their position. It just comes down to a matter of who sells. So, although shorts capitulating is a psychological aspect that sometimes can lead into price moving to the downside, individuals that bank their system upon this, again, it's not a supremely it's not a supremely reliable setup over time. Looking at Tether Dominance, I mean, what can I say? Nobody wants to be holding Tether right now. Now, were I to see Tether Dominance skyrocketing, that would really make me start to consider a short position or significantly hedging against my position right now. However, this does lead credence to the fact that price is bullish, and we've been saying that for a while. Short on Tether, long on Bitcoin. All right, moving on. All right, now at 1243. Riding FOMO rally like a hawk. All right, so having said all that, let's move on over to our traditional markets real quick, and we'll break those down. We'll take a brief break. When we come back, I've got some really interesting news to go over with you guys. So yeah, with about 15 minutes left, guys, before we get into our traditional market analysis, as traders, selecting our exchange is one of the most important decisions that we will make. I'm often asked, as a professional, what are the most important metrics when making this decision? And my answer is always the same. The three major boxes that any exchange that I am considering must check are security, ease of use, and customer service. Now, for me, the exchange that checks all of these boxes and that I use for trading Bitcoin futures is ByBit. They are based out of Singapore, a country with some of the most strictest financial regulation. Their platform is intuitive and simple to use, yet also has advanced order features for seasoned traders. Finally, their customer service live chat is in the corner of their main page and is available at a click. So I've absolutely loved using ByBit's platform. That's why I talk about it. I very much prefer it over the alternatives in this space. Sorry. If you would like to check out ByBit, you can visit bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com and receive up to $60 from ByBit just to test their platform. Again, that's bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com, the exchange that we use. All right. So moving into traditional markets and Forex. Let's first start off with our S&P CFD, tracking it over on Awanda. And again, a day of consolidation. We had a little bit of a brief pump up at the candle open, but overall just sitting right where yesterday's candle closed. Again, we did get our last continuation long over here on the 17th. That pumped up price. We've hit 2 of 3 take profits on that. Price is pulled back on our index. And so not in an active position. Direct pullback to the baseline. So again, one might be inclined to take a reversal trade off of the baseline. But overall, no position to be taken on the S&P 500 right now. And just overall, after grabbing liquidity above our local high, consolidation. I think that we most likely will push higher on the S&P. I'm quite bullish on traditional markets right now, to be quite honest with you. Looking over at our E-mini futures, again, just with the S&P 500, similar at our SP over on the CME if you're trading E-minis. I don't believe there's a position to take right now. Continuation long over here after stretching a lot of profit out of the SP, the NQ, the Dow, and the Russell 1000, and just a time to be cautious, a time to sit, and a time to wait for the market to consolidate and break to the upside. Looking over at the NQ, again, as I said, exact same thing. Similarly for the Dow and similarly for the Russell as well. Although the Russell, correcting myself, the Russell is a short position. In fact, a short yesterday, you are now in profit. Price pumped up and actually gave you a better entry if you would have taken a reversal off the baseline. All right, looking at VIX, again, VIX continues to climb into somewhat dangerous territory, being up there at 16.35%. So just be cautious with your VIX. And again, GLD having a little bit of a gap down today, after we got a signal to take profit long on our gold commodities trades yesterday, of course, being Section 1256 tax regulated assets, we don't really trade commodities futures like GLD over on the SIBO, but I digress. All right, getting back to our CFDs and looking at our precious metals that we would trade on Awanda. All right, so take profit long on today's candle, coming from our sensitive stop loss as well. Our VGI not crossing to the downside, so we look, are we in a continuation long? So we're going to listen to Minx. So exiting the Zao trade, looking at palladium, we got the take profit long signal over here as well. But again, let's look back and see that we are in a primary long. So exit from right here. You should still be having some of your position riding with a trailing stop. But if not, that's good. You got out at a great profit again. I will be holding my physical palladium for quite a while. I just bought quite a bit of it not too long ago, about 2 months ago now at current day. Looking over at silver, silver continues to have a dramatic pullback to the baseline, but being bought right back up again. We got the take profit long on this, and since we were riding a continuation long signal, listening to our sensitive. Platinum might be finally gearing up for something, but again, I've been very cautious about taking a platinum trade. I don't really believe there's still anything to do, but let's watch closely because again, we might now be getting a signal to go long, but not at this moment. Zao silver, so gold silver, gold against silver is a take profit on today's current candle because we are riding a continuation long. So again, just fantastic trades pretty much across the board, across all our major markets. Bentley crude, again, I continue to remain extremely bullish on crude oil, guys, whether it's West Texas oil or whether it's Bentley crude, long to the gills. Commodities as corn, natural gas continues to be a short, but corn, soybeans, sugar remain do-nothing trades. I will say that sugar might be gearing up for a short on the close of today's candle. However, corn and soybeans, I'm doing absolutely nothing with. And wheat, so wheat is the only delineation where wheat is actually a long trade. Now, looking at West Texas oil, again, very bullish on oil. This is the trade that I talked about for quite a while. This is the trade to take. Still bullish, still talking about the long trade on oil. And I think that's where we're going to end traditional markets and indices. So that was metals, commodities, and oil. Getting over on into our Forex markets. We'll look at our major Forex pairs, anything of interest coming out today. The Aussie yen is going to be a long on the close of today's candle. Looking at the Aussie dollar, we continue to ride our long position. Looking at the Canadian Swissy, there's really nothing to do here except for having taken profit on your short on the previous day. Looking at the Canadian yen, we are getting a continuation long signal from today's candle. Looking at the Swissy yen, we continue to ride our long position. Looking at the Euro Aussie, price is closing below the baseline, so the Euro Aussie might be a short signal on the close of today's candle. Everything looks like it is confirming well. The Euro Canadian continues to be a short signal from yesterday's signal. The Euro Swissy, nothing. The Euro Kiwi continues to be a short signal from yesterday. The Euro Pound continues to be a long. The Euro Yen is a do-nothing trade. The Euro Dollar continues to be a long. The Pound Kiwi continues to be a short from the signal generated 2 days ago. The Pound CAD continues to be a continuation short from the initial signal given about a week ago. The Pound Aussie continues to be a short as well. What the fact? Do I recommend any free courses for beginners on trading for crypto? I mean, not really, man. I mean, that's why I created Cracking Cryptocurrency and the Pathways to Profit course in the first place. I mean, you get what you pay for, man. In my professional opinion, most of the traders who trade don't end up getting the results that they want, and that's why most of the traders end up coming over and joining the group. At least, again, not to say that we have every single trader in the group, otherwise that would be weird. But, again, most of the individuals that join our group, and our retention rate is so high because of the knowledge that we provide and the strength of our community. So I'm a firm believer that you get what you pay for, man. And if you want to trade, if you want to learn how to do like a job, which is what we do job training. Trading is a profession. Trading is a skill. You would go to college to learn any job skill, and you would pay for that job skill because you know that job skill would pay dividends over time. I mean, if you want to learn to do a job for free, I mean, you're going to get the quality that you pay for. So there's really nothing out there. I mean, Baby Pips, Investopedia, but I really think a lot of that stuff's going to point you in the wrong direction because there is an obsession with price action and reversal trading in this space, an absolute obsession. And it's just completely difficult to get away from. All the information's right in the link, man. premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. You can find something that works for you or get a hold of me in the Discord, man. Pound yen is a do-nothing trade. Pound dollar is still a long trade, actually. Kiwi dollar is probably my favorite long trade that we've put on. Kiwi CAD was a long signal yesterday, so very happy about that trade right now. The Kiwi Swissy, nothing right now. And the Kiwi yen is a long trade again, generated yesterday. And the dollar CAD continues to be a very profitable short. The last one that I want to look at real quick is the dollar yuan. The dollar yuan continues to be a short signal. So, all right, guys, prices actually pull back to the baseline, giving us a little bit more of an attractive entry. All right, so that is going to be our S&P, our E-minis, our metals, our commodities, our oils, and our Forex. So we're going to do some chat engagement for about 10 minutes here, guys, and we're going to kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about. Requests are open whenever you guys want, so we can take requests whenever you like. All right, so let's go back through the chat just a little bit, and let's see here, man. Ken D, taking advantage of that? Sure beating your silver? I feel you, man. Crypto Mike says, what about my alts? But my feels. They're going down, man. Will your alts come back? That is my question. I'm sure eventually, yeah. But there are times to be in altcoins, and there are times to not be in altcoins. Nice, Nigao. Maybe it's Nigu. Maybe I'm completely pronouncing it wrong, but congratulations, man. Bye-bye, Litecoin. Yeah, thank you for that laugh, Lee Newt. That is pretty funny. Thank you so much, Adam Powers. I highly appreciate that, man. Zotrack says, altcoin's main use case for a trader, I would add a caveat there, is to get more Bitcoin. So at some point, the lunch does end. Yeah, man. Lee is that 1% of other people you mentioned. Jurgen, my only regret is that I have but one government to give the bird to. Wait, I have two. Lucky me. Oh, yeah, I think mining has value, for sure. I mean, you're printing money out of thin air. Hey, what's going on, AK? Good to see you in here, brother. What do I think will happen when Mt. Gox will pay people back? Probably not a whole lot, because they're paying them back. They're paying them back in the amounts that they had, not the they're paying them back relative to the USD values, not the Bitcoin values. If it was the Bitcoin values, maybe we could see something like really significant. CNT 285, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube, my good friend. And Sanso, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. Iron Cac, yeah, I would definitely take some profit, brother. Does going 1x short on ByBit lock in USD value? Yes, it does. Going 1x short is the same thing as going into cash. Mufad P, the man that just moved a whole bunch of Bitcoin over to Coinbase. Why would you move a lot of Bitcoin onto an exchange? To sell it. Rocket Boy Moonfly says, I am on Coinbase Pro now, but it's way too basic. What's the best trading platform for a U.S. citizen? That's a great question, man. Coinbase is going to be the safest. Binance offers a lot of options. Of course, we use 3 commas for our advanced order features. So, I mean, listen, any cryptocurrency exchange that you're going to go to, with the exception of the futures platforms, which you're going to have to use which you're going to have to use a VPN to access if you're in America, they're all super basic, man. I mean, they really all are lacking in features. That's why we use 3 commas. We use the exchanges, but we trade through 3 commas to use those advanced order features. Have I ever used Skew? Yes, I use Skew all the time. Rocket Boy Moonfly says, I just tried ByBit, but it won't let me in. I'm using a US ISP address. You're going to need a VPN, my good friend. In fact, the one we recommend is the Winscribe in the description. Thank you so much, Wayne Tech. Alpine Whip, good to see you, man. Glad you caught me live, too. Bears at the top, waiting to smack down the Bulls. That's true, man. That is true. However, I've been saying that for a while. All in the Mind says, please talk about Bitcoin. You know, this is really funny, guys. You know, I just got to say this, and I know I'm just going to have to say it every single day. I do a 2-hour show every single day, and I literally talk about Bitcoin for an hour, if not more. And I move over, and I look at traditional markets, which you should all be trading anyways, for like 15, 20 minutes, and everybody loses their mind. We didn't come here to talk about corn. Well, you should be listening to what's going on with the corn market, because it's important. It's a massive commodity, and you should be trading there. You shouldn't be all in cryptocurrency. But anyways, I digress. I'm just going to get that every day. It's all good. I love you guys. I get it. We're all love Bitcoin, man. Two sausages and eggs for breakfast, my good man. No. For the last 2 months, so generally it is 2 sausages and eggs. That is if I'm going to eat a physical breakfast. However, the last 2 months, it's been buttered coffee. That's been breakfast every day. So I think that's amazing. That plays into my keto diet. Even when I'm not the corn, man, the Bitcoin. Even when I'm not full keto, that is. I mean, honestly, it's my favorite breakfast. It gets me so energized. It's 3 tablespoons of coffee, 8 ounces of water. It's 2 tablespoons of grass-fed organic butter, and a tablespoon of MCT oil. You can add some other stuff to it as well. I've seen all kinds of interesting formulas for bulletproof coffee. You know, like herbs and supplements and stuff like that. But I find that a lot of that stuff is completely unnecessary. One thing that I have been considering is adding colloidal silver to it. But that for me kind of borders on the almost too hippy dippy. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, it comes recommended, so I'm unclear on whether, you know, if you're already living pretty healthy, you know, it's actually going to get you there, man. I do love shorting them penny stocks, man. Dutch crypto overview, there's a lot of news. In fact, we're going to go ahead and take our brief break, guys. And when sorry, I need to resize the big chat box here that I'm using. When we come back, guys, we've got some interesting news for you that might further make an impact and an influence on what you decide to do in the market. We're going to cover the 8,884 Bitcoins, which is worth $101 million more now. Moving on to Coinbase, we're also going to talk about, listen, guys, this is huge. I cannot understate how huge this is. This is not fake news. We're going to talk about the fact that if you are in Singapore or America, if you want, you're going to be able to trade government-regulated, physically delivered Bitcoin futures contracts in July. We're going to talk about that. Reelin22, thank you so much for the sub over there on YouTube. One thing, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you guys want to follow along, use our indicators, and check our analysis. You guys can go give us a follow over on TradingView. You can search for Cracking Crypto on TradingView, or you can just go to tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Highly appreciate that. Make sure to give us a follow and a like over on there. And, of course, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, share, and engage in the show while we're gone, guys. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We've got some great stuff when we come back. back, guys. Thank you so much for holding out through the break, and we are live with our next segment of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, as soon as I get the chat resized and put right back where I want it, actually, I'm going to put the chat over here, because as we go into our segments, I definitely want my notes. Rocket Boy Moonfly, good to hear, man. Bulletproof coffee is awesome. Collagen protein, I'll have to look into that. That's good, yeah. You know, for a long time, I actually did put protein powder in there, especially when I was on the carnivore diet. The actual the beef-based protein powder, and I like that, but it was a little bit of an overflow. And since I'm taking a break from heavy lifting right now, just working on, honestly, calisthenics at this point in time and flexibility, which I think is good. I typically go like 6 months focusing on weights, and then 3 to 4 months focusing on calisthenics and CrossFit, overall cardiovascular activity. It's good. It's good. I find that's very important to do. So, getting right into the news. So we talked about this yesterday. And Crypto Potato quickly becoming one of my more favorite sites to go to. I really like these guys over here. I've kind of talked to some of their writers. But we talked about this yesterday. But some large investor, i.e. whale, moved a significant size of Bitcoin onto Coinbase yesterday. So someone moved 8,884 Bitcoin, which was worth around $101.5 million at the time. Now, that wallet, what's interesting is that wallet has been inactive for nearly a year. There are a few small transactions ranging from a few cents to a few dollars, and what those are just test transactions. So, as somebody who has held a large amount of Bitcoin in a wallet in cold storage, it's something that people do. You have, especially, and again, it depends on, I guess you see more from... Honestly, to me, what it is the more of those you see from a whale wallet, it's the insecurity of the individual. And you can kind of tell that that's somebody who doesn't really understand Bitcoin that much, or who has never really had that much money and they just want to feel like they have control. So it's something lots of people do. You have lots of Bitcoin in an address, i.e. lots of money. And every once in a while, you send a couple bucks, like just to assure yourself that you're like, okay, I got control of that wallet. It's all good. I can have it anytime I want. Because there's still a huge dissonance between people who are not technologically savvy. I mean, most people are not experts in cryptocurrency and wallet technology. It's still a huge barrier for a lot of people. I know for some people, it's like, oh no, I totally understand this. I wrote my own wallet. But for 99.9% of the rest of the people in the space, we're just like, well, we keep our money on the exchange. And you can say that what you will. However, it is a state of the union, I guess. And Stoey, thank you so much for joining the community over there on Twitch, my good friend. Shout out to you. Now, back on July 30th, 2018 was the last time they sent a significant transaction, and they sent about $530,000 on that date worth of Bitcoin out of the wallet. Now, what does this mean? Obviously, if it is a smart investor, they would like to take advantage of an average selling price and space their limit orders out over time rather than tank the entire market with a market sell. However, if it is someone less intelligent who just happens to have a lot of Bitcoin, which is a common occurrence in this space, it could mean an incoming dump. Now, just a little over a month ago, we saw the power that just 3,500 Bitcoin could have on the market with the big Bitcoin dump that we covered and all witnessed on Bitstamp originating, where Bitcoin's price dropped from nearly 8,000 to 7,000 in less than 30 minutes. Now, that led to a 24-hour decline of about 10% overall in Bitcoin's price. Now, we did recover nicely from that, obviously, and we have rallied up to 13,000. So just take that as you will. I do think that is something that you want to take into account. However, another interesting point about this transaction that has nothing to do with directional bias is the transaction fee. And this is just a good thing that I'd like to say about Bitcoin. The owner only paid about 0.01 BTC in transaction fees. So that's about 121 bucks. Now, that's $121 to send $100 million worth of value. Is there anybody out there who thinks that Bitcoin sucks due to transaction fees? I mean, we've talked about this so many times. The only time in history where the transaction fees became untenable, and well, there's been other periods in time where individuals were worried about orphan blocks, if you go back to like 2013, 2014, 2012, but I digress. The entire point is in recent history, it was that period in August when we had the BCH and BTC split. We had that hard fork. We had Bitcoin Cash, which has now split into SV and ABC, and then we had Bitcoin, which was that original split. And we talked about this back during that time. We were recording live back during that time. We've been around for almost 2 years now, and doing the show. And again, I talked at that time, and now I still continue to talk about it, how the only reason why transaction fees ran up so high is because of malicious mempool spamming from the Bitcoin Cash network, period. Period. It was not, that's what the entire block size debate was absolutely fabricated, in my professional opinion. And again, you might want to qualify that professional, because I'm a professional trader, but I'm not a technology expert when it comes to Bitcoin. I'm quite good. I give lectures across the United States on Bitcoin technology and its impact as far as blockchain tech, but they're more introductory. Like it's very easy for me to explain the basics of how blockchain technology works, but I couldn't write my own wallet. I'm not a programmer by nature. So, but just try that. Remember, $121 to send $100 million. Try that anywhere else with any other form of money, and you'll be reminded why Satoshi wrote the white paper in the first place. All right, so moving into potentially more significant news, more significant long-term news, because this is significant in the short term, but this one really excites me as a trader. So LedgerX has gotten the green light from the CFTC to list physically delivered Bitcoin futures contracts. Bam, done. All right, now this is not a false flag. This is not a back false alert. This is not an ETF, maybe not type news like we've heard all year long. This is the real deal of Vander Holyfield. Regulated Bitcoin futures markets will be traded starting next month for customers residing in America and Singapore. So every other company is still about 6 months behind in regulatory approval. So I'm looking for LedgerX to really benefit from first mover advantage here. If it all works out well, I will be trading on this platform. It is going to be available to both institutional and retail investors and traders. The initial capital requirements are going to be $10,000 worth of Bitcoin or dollars. However, within a year, they say capital requirements will drop down to zero, according to LedgerX's CEO, Paul Cho. Now, we've been talking about having a price standard for a while, and how we felt with great conviction that that would come from a regulated exchange that dealt with physically delivered Bitcoin. Now, later this year, they will add other cryptocurrency derivative contracts as well. I really can't tell you how excited I am about this. This is very similar to the price discovery mechanism that occurs in precious metals and commodities markets. And even though we all have our opinions, positive and negative, on the manipulation of the precious metal and commodities markets, however, we have to realize that that is cash-settled futures. That's where all that conspiracy comes from. Cash-settled futures have always been used to manipulate the price of commodities. For this reason, that is why we saw the bear market commence in cryptocurrency after the launch of the CME futures and the rise of popularity of platforms like BitMEX, because they are cash-settled futures contracts. Now, physically delivered models, on the other hand, in my strong opinion, are true price discovery mechanisms that are by design difficult to manipulate. So, this is pretty fantastic, man. This is big. If you don't think this is big, in my qualified opinion, because I am qualified to speak on this. Now, we're going to talk about this just a little bit. China's state-run media agency reports Bitcoin is a safe haven in a rocky world. Is China using Bitcoin to hedge against Trump's trade tariffs? Now, regardless how you feel about China, and regardless how you feel about Trump, dun, 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 this is kind of important. This is just a really quick article. And basically, what happened is, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Xinhua News Agency, a Chinese state-run media outfit, published an analysis yesterday over Bitcoin's latest price surge. So, in this article, they talk about, and let's actually pull it up over here and take a gander at it. So here it is right here. And this says squiggly line. It's not called kanji, Mandarin. All right, moving back over to the American version. So the analysis touched on the price of Bitcoin and speculated on the reason for its bullish run, touching on Facebook's Libra coin as a possible coin. But more tellingly, it talked about how Bitcoin is a safe haven, attracting a lot of investors, especially in China. We talked a lot about China potentially devaluing their own currency to avoid the negative implications of trade tariffs, and how always historically when countries do that, because this is not a unique event, this has happened a lot on the global scale of economics, countries have devalued their own currency to escape trade tariffs or to escape sanctions and impositions. Iran, Iraq, Turkey, Libya, they've all done things like this, and it always causes capital-heavy individuals in that country, citizens of that country, to look for safe havens, which always has a negative impact on their economy, generally across the board. So this is obviously the speculation here is that based on China potentially doing this to their own currency, which, as we've seen from the dollar yuan. What we've seen from this is basically the fact that since more tariffs are set to be imposed on China, that individuals are seeing the lack of light at the end of the tunnel for the Chinese yuan in the short term, and they are looking to protect their capital by investing in a safe haven like cryptocurrency. And this is pretty strong words coming from Chinese government media arm, because all media is state-run there, because they have been previously very dismissive of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. So they have pretty strict regulation on cryptocurrency. Pascal, thank you so much for the YouTube support over there, man. Welcome to the community. So right now, cryptocurrencies are legal in China to hold, but you can't trade and you cannot participate in ICOs. And worse, on their state board of like stuff we're going to do, they do have banning Bitcoin mining on that list, which is why we've seen a massive outflow of mining from China to other countries. And believe it or not, for all the talk about, again, I've talked about this many times, the idea that Bitcoin mining is centralized in China is not true. It's not true. And almost 80% of all Bitcoin mining is powered by renewable energy, okay? So the whole conspiracy theory that individuals are A, blowing up the atmosphere, or B, whatever, centralized in China because of their cheap energy, it's not as true as you think it is. It's just not. There's not a lot of facts to support the underlying basis behind that. Now, BitMEX has hit a new record with with 11.19 billion in trading volume in 24 hours over on the BitMEX platform. They also reached $1 billion open interest on the Bitcoin perpetual swap contract for the first time. So this is just further evidence that the market is frothy, man. It's pronounced as Van Dyke. Well, welcome, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate that touch from the Dutch community, man. And Bitfinex is now live. They obviously did server maintenance this morning. However, this tweet is about 4 hours old now as of recording. Their upgrade is now complete, and trading on Bitfinex is once again live. Thank you so much, Bitfinex, for that helpful blah, blah, blah. And again, we talked about yesterday about Bitfinex introducing their 100x market to the cryptocurrency space. Moving over to crypto bubbles. Let's take a gander over the last day. And overall, we've got our small caps putting in some quite bullish activity, man. OMG up 30%, Zem up 15.9%, Bitcoin up 17%. Thorocoin, Zcash, BCN, Zen, ABBC, Elastos, Decred, BitShares, Nexo, Miota. So congratulations to those individuals holding those coins and taking those trades. We did have a Dutch member in the EU Parliament whose name is Tiny Cox. Awesome, man. Turd Ferguson, I mean, I agree with the first part of that statement, but the second part of that statement, I don't necessarily agree with. I mean, we're all here bullish on cryptocurrency, so, I mean, you could just say the same thing. You could just replace Chinese with any other nationality, or really just exclude nationality and say humans. So why would anybody risk their capital on such a highly volatile commodity? I mean, really, what that equals is why would anybody invest in cryptocurrency? For the potential profit reward. All right, it's 1:20, man, and we've got a big show for the rest of us, man. We've got a big, big show. They're to beat us. They're to BTC. Percent change weighted against BTC. CryptoBubbles.net. Shout out to you, Crypto Bubbles. Hopefully you're doing very, very well. All right, let's get back over to the price of Bitcoin and look at that flagpole standing nice and stiff at alert, man. Just beautiful to see. Currently trading at 13,514. All right. So let's get down into user submitted chart requests. I do see link, a BTC coming from Mechanic 201. If you guys have any user submitted chart requests, any charts you'd like me to look at, any price prognostications or predictions, I would be happy to make those at that time, as well as probably spend the rest of the show engaging with the chat. So, being that as it is, and seeing as we blasted through a whole lot of news, let's go ahead and turn the music on. And before we turn the music on, we do have to say, for professional traders and for myself, it is absolutely essential that I have full control over all of my positions. Platforms like Binance, Coinbase Pro, and Bittrex, although amazing in their own right, do lack essential features for any serious trader. Whether it's setting a take profit and a stop loss simultaneously, setting a trailing stop loss, or automating trading view alerts to maximize our returns in the market and simplify our trading, we just need better tools. And the platform that we use for accessing these essential tools is 3 Commas. 3 Commas is the industry leader for providing cryptocurrency traders across the board these much needed tools. If you would like to try out 3 Commas, our link will provide you not only with a free trial, but a 10% discount off of your purchase. Head on over to 3commas.krakencryptocurrency.com to take advantage of this offer. That's 3commas.krakencryptocurrency.com. All right. So we're going to get right into price. So we've got AMD BTC coming from Michael Hardesty. Dutch Crypto Overview says, can you check out Dutch Index AEX? Yes, I sure can. Do I think the Litecoin halvening will have any effect on Bitcoin's prices? In an indirect fashion, yeah. Ethereum BTC and ADA BTC, right on dice. ADA BTC for right on dice. And David Gelfand requesting Ethereum Bitcoin. That's good. Hey, Adam Collector, it's not right for everybody, but that's good, man. I think the huge thing is the no processed foods and low carbs for sure, man. Dad23, 3 Commas would make your life easier regardless of your experience. EOS USD coming from Jordan, London. And BNB USDT from All Infinity. Did you get your t-shirt yet, All Infinity? Let's see. So from 50 to 25 to 12.5 to, yeah, this will be the third halvening. Yeah. Correct, Kindy. Dump Litecoin at the very bottom of the market. Oh, we've been short on Litecoin for like a week, man. Okay, so we'll get over here to where we have the dollar yuan. And we will just start at the top, man, with Link Bitcoin coming from Mechanic 201. Link BTC, the old stinky linky over here on the Binance chart, and getting some wibble wobble features here, man. So as we can see, Link BTC here did generate a long signal. However, we look down to our confirmer. We do not get any confirmation coming from Wada Atar, so that's not a trade we take. Very good thing. Keeps us out of the market. And throwing up a short signal, which our confirmer does generate. I think that BTC pairs have a lot more pain in store. However, again, I want to qualify everything that we're about to say with the contrarian opinion to what you're going to hear me say. I am a trend following trader, but a lot of individuals are going to look at this as an opportunity to accumulate outs. But like when I did my daily scan last night, there were literally like 8 out of 150 altcoins that were positive, and yet people still want to trade the alt Bitcoin markets. Like you trade markets because you cannot short the grand preponderance of altcoins. There are just simple times when you're not trading alts to Bitcoins because they're not profitable, and you are losing money hand over fist by focusing on those markets instead of the USD markets. Tom Hardy, good to see you in here, man. You know what, All Infinity? Maybe I'll contact Spreadshirt and see if they won't just refund me. Probably not. I'll probably just buy you one and have it sent to me, and then I'll just DHL it over to you. Well, that's probably going to be the easiest way. Can you please explain what exactly the halvening does? So the block reward, or the amount that the amount of, this is how new Bitcoin is generated. Whenever a block is mined, every 10 minutes, give or take, every time a block is mined, i.e. a miner has verified the block, written the code, and attached it as the next segment, as the next block in the chain of blocks that record all transactions, and then distributes that across the network agrees that everything was done with that block correctly, and that is how we have consensus and how the network is maintained. The miner who does the work to mine that block gets a reward. This is how new Bitcoin comes into creation. There is no central institution that creates new Bitcoin. There is new Bitcoin created every 10 minutes. And the miner who does the work and can prove he did the work, i.e. proof of work, gets the block reward. When Bitcoin first started out, that block reward was 50 Bitcoin. So every 10 minutes, somebody got 50 Bitcoin. 50 new Bitcoin came into creation every 10 minutes. Then we had the initial halvening, and that number went from 50 to 25. So now miners were only receiving 25 Bitcoin every time they confirmed a block. Excuse me, not confirmed a block, mined a block. And then back in 2016, we had that number jump down to 12.5 Bitcoin. And now that number is going to be cut in half again to 6.25. Elijah Finch, can we check that Neo BTC? Yeah, sure, man. TRX. Original Babou. And Zcash for blockchain gains. Now, I did see a talk in there, Mechanic, about seeing a link to the USDT, so let's do that. Alexandre Dornelis, thank you so much for the follow over there the subscription over there on YouTube. Welcome to the community, my good friend. So I don't see anything positive for Link BTC. Let's go see if Link USDT is any different. Should be pumping very well. We did get our continuation long on old Stinky Linky back over here on the 23rd of June and up about 26% on that trade. That was a PTP trade. Shout out to everybody who took that. Let's see here. Hitting, let's make the argument. Did we hit take profit 3? Yes, we did hit take profit 3 right on that wick, so we'd be fully out of this trade or riding our trade with a trailing stop. And since price pulled back over 5%, even with the most generous trailing take profit on 3 commas over there, most likely you are completely out of the trade. Why does Bitcoin halvening push the price up? Because it makes it more scarce. And the more scarce something is, the more valuable it is, generally. Supply and demand. It also increases competition because mining becomes more difficult, i.e. making the network more secure. Of course, technological improvement plays a factor into that as well. All right. Moving over to AMD BTC. Or just AMD stock. Michael Hardesty. I mean, Bitcoin's pumping a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and skip AMD until you can let me know. Or if you meant AMB for Ambrosis. So we'll look at AEX. This one right here, Dutch. On the Euro next. This index right here is what you're talking about. All right. I'll tell you what I see. Continuation long here. We would have gotten take profit 1 off of this gap. Price would have pulled back and hit our stop loss break even. There's not a lot, Ken D. We're above them. The next significant resistance is really closer to the $15,000 levels. So let's take a gander here. All right, there's 2 ways to look at this, of course. There's PTP and then there's price action. So pull back to the daily baseline, initiating an opportunity for a reversal trade to the long side. Of course, price is above the baseline and has been in a bullish trend, i.e. I would be bullish on it in general. I don't see a good signal right now. Let's see here. We would have gotten a long signal here, taken a long signal here, taken that to the upside. Price pulled back to the baseline. We got another signal here. Let's do something here real quick. Let's speed minx up. It's already sped up. Okay, good. All right, so let's speed minx up. Traditionally, when we're looking at traditional stocks that tend to move a little bit slower, we want those earlier signals. We want them to filter more on cryptocurrency. Good to see you, RK. So I don't really see it. This isn't a super exciting stock. We're in a bullish trend. I'd be bullish on it, man. We did have the 1355 daily moving average crossover right over here, and that's always a good bullish sign to see. That really denotes whether something is long-term bullish or bearish for me. As you can see, when we do get those moving average crossovers, they tend to stay crossed over for quite a while. Overall, I'd say on a broader term perspective, we're in a period of consolidation. As you can see, we did just get the weekly crossover right back here in March, and price ran up a little bit, pulled back down to the secondary baseline, and is attempting to appreciate. So overall consolidation, I think, before we have another bullish run. I think this is pretty bullish, man. This looks really bullish to me. I don't really see a trade on the table now unless you take a reversal trade off the baseline, i.e. we are in buying territory. I'd want to see a few more days. I want to see a few more days before I take a position now. But just overall, it would definitely be on my watch list of stocks to watch. Go, baby. All right, moving over to ADA BTC for rightondice. ADA Bitcoin. Looks bad, man. Looks bad. We got our initial short signal right over here. And a take profit signal here. RVGI told us to get out here. And we could have got back in here if we wanted to, I guess. Maybe potentially. We are getting a continuation short on today's candle. This doesn't look super great to me, man. Big volume though coming down here at the end, so keep your eyes peeled. And sometimes that does play a significant part in discretionary position sizing. Let's see here. Bitcoin all-time high? Definitely not at an all-time high. That would be around 19,700. Just to get a little bit more specific for you, right on dice though. Again, big volume spike often can mean the end of a trend. You can also see the momentum coming in from Wadatar as well. Rising explosion level. Of course, Wadatar gave you an initial short signal here, and Minx was a little quicker to the table, giving you the short signal on the candle the previous day. And again, Minx giving you that indication to go ahead and continue on with your shorts on the close of today's candle. I tend to respect that, man. Minx gives very, very, very good signals. Volume is quite high. RVGI is about to cross under to the downside, which is another slower continuation signal to the downside. We are very, very, very far away from the baseline. So a correction would probably put us back up about 20% for a retest of the baseline. But again, just as I talk about, these moving average crossovers really help to note long-term trend. And you can see when the moving average crossover occurs over here back in April, and price is overall bearish. Price is very overall bearish in ADA Bitcoin. And when we get the moving average crossover back here in March, then we just ride that up the whole time. ADA Bitcoin long was one of the best. Best time to be homeless? Maybe if you're living in San Francisco. All right, looking at Ethereum Bitcoin for Mr. David Gelfand. Same thing, man. All these alts look like absolute slaughter to me, dude. Here's a continuation short on Ethereum Bitcoin right here on the Binance chart. And again, a beautiful signal from PTP. 8% to the downside right there. Just beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. Big volume spike coming in here at the end of the trend. I mean, everybody unloading their altcoin pairs to get into Bitcoin. Support coming in down here around not 2465889. So let's just call it not 24, not 247, not 246, somewhere around there. Yeah, man. I don't buy things. I trade counterintuitive to how individuals are taught. The idea that you buy low and sell high doesn't really work too well. Typically, you want to buy things when they are bullish and sell things when they are bearish. So, again, moving average crossover. As we can see here, when the moving averages are coiling, that is telling you to be out of the market. And then we get a clear break here. And price continues on to the downside. And when is price bullish? When we have that moving average crossover and we're able to capture a majority of the trend. Just another fundamental factor to look at when designing your trades. Just respecting these moving average crossovers captures you so much money and makes you lose out on saves you so much loss. Yeah, if we have time, we can do Litecoin Bill Merryfield. I think we already looked at Litecoin. My third take profit on Litecoin hit not too long ago to the downside, so very bearish on alt Bitcoins right now, man. All right, looking at EOS to USD for Mr. Jordan London. All right. Took a long trade on this not too long ago, which hit 2 of 3 take profits for me. Good trade. Continuation long here. Similar thing. Prices pull back down to the baseline. It is looking good for a long. This will probably pop up off the baseline. Or you can just be more conservative and not take any position until your system gives you a clear signal. 1 or 2 more days of bullishness will give you a long signal on this. And again, we are at the baseline. The 13 is above the 55, i.e. price is bullish, and EOS has been in a rally. So I'm biased to the bullish side on this. I don't really see a very attractive signal right now. And I tend to just trade based off the signals that my system generates because that is what has proven to be very consistent. All right. Do I think it'll hit 20K again this week? I doubt it, man. It would be amazing. Robert Jones, I think there was no one who could predict this run. Yeah, price prediction doesn't work, man. B-Flow says, damn it, all night killing it with PTP on BitMEX with XBT and alts at night. Then during the day, I can only be on my phone trading on ByBit for the competition. I feel like I'm at the craps table. I feel you, man. Yeah, so I think that exact same thing. Adam, I do agree with you. That is the information that we have from one historical incident. So after we received the all-time high last year, Spacey Blur, thanks so much for the sub over on YouTube, my good friend. So after last year's all-time high, we had a month to 2 months of massive altcoin pumps. They were exit pumps before the correction, yes. So basically, that's what we will most likely see again. All right, moving on to BNB USDT for Mrs. All Infinity. BNB USDT was a trade that we took as well. We can see the continuation long signal back over here on the 17th of June. Let's see when we actually took the trade. BNB we took on the 18th. We made about 8.76% ROI on that trade. On the 18th right here. And price ran up about 16.88%. Average sell got about half of that movement. And prices pull back down to the daily baseline. WADA throwing up some bearish signals and low volume as well. Sitting on support, again, in a bullish market. How do we know it's bullish? Where is price in relation to the baseline? And where is the baseline in relation to the secondary baseline? So, again, this is poised for a reversal trade. You're in a bull market, so you buy pullbacks to your trend line. JXB182, thanks so much for the sub over there on YouTube, my good friend. Welcome to the community. But I don't see a clear signal. Again, maybe a day or two of bullishness will pull this up, which always makes me feel more confident about a trade when my system actually calls a trade. Is it safe to purchase crypto off of Robinhood? Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of I guess maybe there's really just not one. Yeah, undoubtedly, altcoins rose in December too, a lot. And then we saw them top out in January and February, was my point, Robert. Because their underlying value, which was Bitcoin, was tanking. So, I do believe you. And I think you're absolutely right. In the United States, you can use Kraken or you can utilize a VPN, Mohammed. Yep. Bitcoin is on my chart, brother. 13,749 over on BitMEX, 13,730 on ByBit. Seen a Craigslist ad for a guy selling Bitcoin. Seems legit. You might get some Chuck E. Cheese tokens, man. So getting back to BNB, I mean, you've got the reversal trade off the baseline, but there's no clear signal. That's what you got going on for you. In fact, I can delete this alert. That was a previous take profit level. All right. Neo BTC for Mr. Elijah Finch. So Neo BTC hit take profit 1 for us, reversed, and hit our stop loss at break even. So we are out of this trade, and thank God we trade that way, because that is a big decline. Neo BTC taking a huge dive just along with all the other altcoins. Don't I think there's something fishy in this insane bull run? Nah, I really don't. This is just, it just happens. It happens in all markets. You can see the same froth in traditional markets as well. You can see the same froth in regular markets. This is kind of the beautiful period when a lot of people make money and a lot of people lose money, unfortunately, sadly. I even feel FOMO, although I have a position. Bernie Gers, thanks so much for the subscription over there on YouTube, my good friend. Sorry, guys. Let me hop on over here to DLive. It's not integrated with my chat client, so if I don't have it up. Hyun Woon Lee, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, my good friend. Highly appreciated. They say I was gonna double my XRP bag, but I decided to just give it to you instead. And Fan Solo, thank you so much for the sub over there on YouTube. Well, highly appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hyun Woon Lee. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Spectre Security Coin, what's going on, my good brother? And NSDAP, thanks so much for the follows over there on DLive. Armacida, oh, you go chill. Odyssey Spartan Returns, what's going on? I'm probably gonna have to go ahead and moderate those comments, though. That was uncalled for. Can U.S. residents register through ByBit? No. The answer is no. You would have to utilize a VPN. I do not have any price targets for Litecoin, Big Sexy. So Neo BTC for you, Elijah. I don't have any positive things to say. It's just a good market to be out of. I don't trade reversals 99 out of 100 times. Fernando. So honestly, yes, I do get the feeling that we're going to get a correction. This is typically what happens when everybody FOMOs in toward the top. Is scalping allowed on ByBit? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can trade however you like. And I talked about the price of Bitcoin for probably about an hour if you want to go watch the first half of the show. We'll be wrapping up here in about 10 minutes. All right, so TRX BTC for original Babou. TRX again, continuation short signal on today's candle. The last continuation short signal generated over on the 21st of June. That was a trade I actually took on the TRX M19 contract. I mean, all Alta Bitcoins are bleeding out, man. So it is. Let me answer your question, Midnight Synergy. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing against United States law to use ByBit, BitMEX, Deribit, whatever. It's against the exchange's terms of service to utilize their platform, so you would do so at your own risk. I don't think there's anything that Justin Sun can do to bring this thing back. You're starting to see a pattern, yeah. All right, so Zek, a Bitcoin for blockchain gains. Same thing, man. Had a nice little test pump here, run up about 13% in the midst of its drop, almost 30%. Got the initial short signal over here on the 22nd of June. Let's see here. Alpine Whip, actually, I can't answer your question. If you have half your trading equity in cash and half is allocated, I would do nothing. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to take on additional risk. That will not lead to long-term results and success. MWoot557, thank you so much for joining the community over there on Twitch, my good friend. TRX driving like a U-bot. About to hit, about $150 away from 14K. Let's see what happens. Will Bitcoin ever go back under 10K? I mean, yeah, it's highly likely. And I feel like that's not updating properly. Mixie80, I haven't seen you in quite a while. Depends on the altcoin. We were pretty bullish back then. Where's the top in my opinion? See, guys, I don't do that. All that stuff's nonsense. I'm a professional trader. I'm not an analyst, right? I mean, I am an analyst, but most people are going to say things like they're going to draw lines. They're going to say based on this and based on that, blah, 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 blah. That stuff don't work, man. That stuff don't work. You trade with the trend, and you apply risk management and a strategic strategy. That's what you do. And that is how you're able to be a professional trader. Everything else is speculation, and speculators don't make money. Are you going to spam the same question? I mean, I talked about Bitcoin analysis and potential predictions for about an hour during the beginning of the show. So if you'd like to take the patience to go back and rewatch that, you're welcome to, Alex. And Litecoin Bitcoin, down, down, down. Got a short signal over here on the 17th of June, 2019. Brian Anthony, thanks so much for watching over there on Facebook Live. And JXB182, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, my good friend. Always appreciated. And his question is, as you being a technical trader who takes emotion out of trading, what are your thoughts on us being a crypto community, yet there being so much tribalism? Oxymoronic, no? Aren't we all here to profit? We are, but unfortunately, trading is a zero-sum game. So for somebody to buy at a good price, that means somebody has to sell at a good price. So the marketplace is PTP, just as cryptocurrency is. And what's beautiful about the cryptocurrency community is that you meet fantastic friends, especially in the bull market, if you are looking for the right thing, especially if you're not caught up in the bull run fervor and you're actually logical and taking profits and just enjoying the space and enjoying meeting new people and educating people about blockchain and using this as just another push to push this technology into people's lives and have them use it. Mr. Ether says, I'm so disappointed. I thought you were a prophet. No, man. I'm Batman. I'm just kidding. So yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to take emotion out of trading because it's your money on the line at the end of the day. And because you really realize it in your gut if you've ever held on to a significantly losing position, which I certainly have, that nobody cares about you in the market except for you. Nobody has your best interest in mind except for yourself. And that's why it's really, really, really important to find a community of people who are doing their own thing and don't have to take advantage of you to make money in the market, because most people are out there to take advantage of you. Find a strong community to support you and guide you and just have people to share your journeys with, you know? And that's why I like our community so much, because, I mean, most of the guys in there are absolutely fantastic. So, yeah. Thank you so much for the super chat, my good friend. Highly appreciated. Always goes to support the show. And Jeremiah Shirk Media, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube. Sorry that I missed you guys. So with that being said, Jay Clayton confirms that it's not a security. We knew that, baby. With that being said, guys, we're going to click on over. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. I have been your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Obviously, what we're seeing... Wally says, the pathways to profit. I thought it was pathways to profits, not pathways to profit. You guys are awesome, man. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for joining me for another great episode. You guys are fantastic. We'll be back tomorrow from noon to 2 CDT, breaking down the market. We'll see if we just continue to rally on up to 15 or if this is a local top. So make sure that whatever you're doing, make sure to lock in some profit, make sure to update your stop loss to break even, and make sure to be very, very careful with what you're doing. So, end of show stuff. If you guys would like to trade along with us, if you guys would like to learn how we do what we do, if you guys would like to learn how we apply our strategy to the markets, if you guys would like access to our indicators, our strategies, our coursework, our educational material in audio and video form, as well as access to our supportive community. Thank you so much, Stephen Hedrick, for the YouTube sub. Then you can head on over to premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com and trade along with us. Now, do you like listening to great podcasts? Because I know that I do. If so, you might want to check out ours. Yes, this show that you just saw is a podcast. So if you have family and friends or people you don't even like who you would like to get involved in cryptocurrency and you would like to get them to listen along with something that is educational, but also convenient that they can just listen to while they're driving or working or what have you, then direct them to the Breaking Bitcoin podcast. We are live on Google Music, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Podbean. We're live on all of those. You guys can see the full show notes of everything that we talk about during the show, as well as timestamps and a full description of the show, as well as links to all our podcasts over at breakingbitcoin.crackingcryptocurrency.com. We'd also appreciate it if everybody goes out and leaves us a 5-star review on iTunes. Might seem minor to you, but it does significantly help push us up in the rankings and does support the show. So thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.